Some sportsmen make their names with gloves and some with bats, but others make their name with a pen.
When you think about it, a lot of times reporters and they become a part of our lives and of our everyday lives. So you really get to know them one-on-one.
When it comes to sports in St. Louis, specifically baseball, Rob Raines has been bringing readers inside the clubhouse for nearly 40 years.
He was very aware of the things that would affect players. The questions that he asked were questions that I think were always very relevant. And he took all those things in, and that's what made it easy to be around him.
A 1974 graduate of Kickapoo High School, Raines has been a mainstay in St. Louis, covering the Cardinals for the Globe Democrat as well as USA Today. In all, he has covered 59 World Series games and more than 30 spring trainings, all with a fairness to the players that has not gone unnoticed.
I've never read an article that ever Bob Raines wrote or a book that he wrote that ever said something derogatory. He was always a very optimistic guy. He loved baseball, he loved his job, and that's why I think he's very deserving to go into the Hall of Fame in Springfield this weekend.
Well, Rob was always one of those guys that was always very conscientious of the players and the sensitivity of the players, you know, which is very, very important when you're a media guy and around the team.
You've probably seen Rob Raines' work at your local bookstore. He has authored 33 books, mostly with a Cardinals theme, including autobiographies on Jack Buck and Ozzie Smith. All told, he has become one of the most recognized and respected sports writers, not just in St. Louis, but around the country.
Rob, in closing, I just want to wish you congratulations on the final award, the one that you're very deserving, and maybe Sally should be going in there with you.
You get to know people on a personal level, and Rob is certainly one of those special people that has been a part of Cardinal baseball forever, and I just want to say congratulations on making the Missouri Hall of Fame. I think it's very deserving, and continued success.
A true superstar with the written word. Please welcome to the stage Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Rob Raines.
First of all, I want to thank Gerald and the staff of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame for all their hard work in putting on this event and for allowing me to be a part of it, making it such a special day for me and my family. We had a lot of friends who made the trip down here to be with us today. I really appreciate them being here as well. You know, all of the other honorees here today have a long list of accomplishments from their playing careers, their coaching careers, and I congratulate all of them for their success and for being inducted into the Hall of Fame today. Even though we have about a 3-minute limit on our speeches today, I could list all of my athletic accomplishments and I still have about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to fill. Seriously, I tell you, those church slow-pitch softball games were something else, but you'll have to take my word for it. I do have a couple of friends from high school who are here today, and I've sworn them to secrecy about my athletic abilities. You know, for close to 40 years, I've had the honor and the privilege of writing about other people's lives, about their successes and failures from the best seat in the ballpark. I know how lucky I am that when other people get up in the morning and say they're going to work, I get up, get ready, and say I'm going to the ballpark. You know, I never want to lose that feeling. I have seen a lot of people come and go in this profession, and it does take a lot of sacrifices on behalf of your family to be successful and to last as long as I've been around. And I couldn't have done it without my wife Sally, as Whitey mentioned, and my 2 sons, BJ and Mike. Fortunate that all 3 of them are here with us today. You know, BJ, I didn't think was going to make it. He's a sports writer in Boise, Idaho. Just had our second grandchild about a month ago, but he surprised me and showed up. So appreciate him being here. You know, all of them have allowed me to do what I do over these years, and we've had to rearrange parties, events, pull over at the side of the road so I could send a story or a tweet, and I could have had to cover a game somewhere and miss family gatherings. And my mother and father-in-law both could not be here with us today either, but I do want to thank them for being so patient and understanding as well. You know, I have way too many people to thank, though, to mention all of them today, but I do want to recognize a couple of people. You know, when I was in high school at Kickapoo, thinking about becoming a sports writer, a couple of people named Larry Hazelring and Andrew Welch, some of the people who have been around for a while will remember those names. They invited me to come down and hang out in the sports office at the News Leader. I got to answer the phones with the greatest word ever, sports. They let me take the junior high football and the bowling scores over the phone. I thought it was really cool. somewhere along the last 4 decades, I knew that they would let me do that so they wouldn't have to do it. But I still thought it was a pretty neat event. So there is a gentleman who was here with us today about the same time to let me come and hang out down at the sports office at KY3, Ned Reynolds. And I thank him for that as well, and for becoming a good friend and associate all along these years. You know, the sports journalism world is a lot different today than it was then, and I'm not sure all the changes are for the better. I'm kind of worried about the future, even though I currently run a website, STLSportsPage.com, covering sports in St. Louis to a digital audience. I am a newspaper reporter at heart. I love the feel of a newspaper in my hands every morning, but I know the people who share that opinion are dwindling, and that's a shame. You know, covering sports has been my life. I can't imagine ever doing anything else. I'm fortunate, as some of the speakers mentioned, to cover a lot of World Series games, playoff games, All-Star games, and even when some people might think it's a boring game on a Tuesday night in June, you know, it's never been boring to me. When the Cardinals return from their current home road trip, they'll be back at Busch Stadium on Monday. I'll be in the press box covering the game, and I can't think of any place I'd rather be. Thanks again for allowing me to be part of this special day.
I want to invite Sally and Rob's sons to stand, along with other family and friends that made the trip here today related to Rob's friends being inducted. Rob enshrined as a member May 25 in recognition of her outstanding contributions in the field of sports journalism.